Once I was at a wedding and I was really small, I think that time, as most kids do, I was playing around and running around the pandal, and one of the hosts of the wedding kind of caught hold of me and picked me up in his arms and said that, do you see all the things that are here? And I said, yes, I do. He told me, do you realize who's done this? And I said, I don't know. And he said, this is done by your father. He's a jadugar. And to me, that was a moment where it really hit me, and it lasted. You know what really is a jadugar? It's somebody who creates something out of nothing, somebody who makes magic happen out of thin air. And that's what us as designers or people who actually make weddings happen do. You're creating memories out of thin air. I always feel like us middle class individuals, never think or feel that our stories are special enough to be celebrated. We don't celebrate our parents, we don't celebrate our legacy, our families, simply because our forefathers or our parents were not business tycoons or achievers who were some kind of global leaders. But what Sindhi Tent House is for me, it's something that hits home. It's about a family, it's about a father, my father, and it's about his journey into coming onto his own. When I was in school, I used to always be very shy of sharing about what my parents do, because my father's job was an unusual one. And back in the day, without the oncoming of the fancy word as wedding planners and curators, none of that existed in the 80s. It was simply a tambu wala जो आपके घर के पीछे हैं और वो कॉलोनी के टेंट लगा देते हैं. And each time my friends would ask, I could never really frame it, because their parents were either accountants, teachers, some kind of other respected jobs which were, so to speak, more familiar or more acceptable. But for me, I was just like, how do I explain that my father is a tambu wala? Because there was no secondary word. He is a tambu wala and I am a tambu wala's son. Sindhi Tent House is truly a celebration of people who make the weddings happen. It is the celebration of the caterers. It is the celebration of the waiters. It is the celebration of your bandwalas, the musicians, florists, phoolwalas, of the people who put the tambu and the pandal together, and everybody coming together to make that magical land come through for someone's special day. The research for this project was extensive, a lot of research. We went on to the ends of collecting over, 60 to 70 wedding albums of all kinds, of my parents to all the weddings that my father did in the 80s and 90s, to my friends' parents. And we collected DVDs, VCRs to kind of study the environment, to really get it right as a flavor. We also tried to make the colors of the collection really vibrant. We've also added a lot of old world charm with sequence work, a lot of jhalas, a lot of mirror embroidery, a lot of dori work. It has a flavor of the late 90s, but still kind of giving a modern edge with Torani signature. Like each season, we worked on special motifs, so you will see the Barat ka ghoda. We even taken, the Purani Kanat or Shamiana ke, the stars that you would see on the Purana pandals. We've taken them onto making on lehengas and saris. There are a lot of jackets because winters was really, really common, and I remember women wearing saris ke upar sweater with the blouses, or aunties wearing kurtas ke upar sweaters. So instead of sweaters, of course, I wanted to do Torani signature jackets, which come as a lot of layering in the look. We need the real people. I need that Meerut wali Masi or Janakpuri ki Bua. So to create those characters, it was really important for me to actually go through a different path for this campaign. For me, it's like my biggest campaign or shoot that we've done so far with Torani. It's really ambitious. It's the most special. So for me, it had to be this. It had to be this big. It had to be that special. It had to be that celebration, because it's not just a celebration of fashion. It's a celebration of a personal life. So I think it deserved that. When I started with Torani, I never really realized that what I do is actually very similar to what my father did, back in the day, because our work is also really karigar and labor oriented. You need human hands to make this happen, and so do you to make a wedding happen. It can't be done through a computerized button and a machine and everything will appear. Even just the thought of the design, then eventually applying it, and then it goes to a dyeing master. The same way for a tent to, for somebody to actually draw the sketch, map the area, and then figure out how many elements are needed, and then the catering wala does his job, pandal wala does his job, the light wala does his job, and the florist does his job, and all of those people go through and scout and bring together little elements and actually work with human hands to put together this great show of a wedding. And the same way that we as designers take every single element and put together something which didn't exist and present that garment. So in a way, actually, the life that he led is very similar to mine. The only difference is that today I get to speak about it, and it's on a more public platform, but I just feel like it's about creating a new world. There are days when I'm on set, when I'm instructing people, guiding them, being completely hands-on, figuring things and making last-minute decisions, being street smart, and I almost catch myself and think like, oh my God, I am my dad. I'm completely being him. So I think that's something which kind of completes the circle of STH and is the core reason we're doing this.